This is interesting. I think the title for this might be How to Attack a Castled King. Look at this. This is really some crazy business that happened. Game in 3 minutes. So you got to keep that in perspective. Super fast. Alright, this is just some standard Callie system. No big deal. Now you got to watch out at this point for black trying to play bishop to g4. It's really annoying. It's not really that great, but it's just annoying. So we stop that. Now he's trying to play e5. This is my dad's #1 lesson of all time. What is this guy trying to do to me? That's the question he would say. The answer is he's trying to push e5, supported by the knight. So we're going to stop e5. Two best ways to stop e5 would be knight f3 or f4. The computer preferred knight f3. f4 is really good too. It's tomato, personal style. So he's going to, obviously castle kingside and use his bishop for defense of the king, which is fine. So the correct move is knight to d2. The computer lives in a computer world. This is at least the knowledge of knight to d2 is the best move has been that way since at least early 1900s. Literally a century is that known that this is the correct move to keep him from getting crazy on knight to e4. Solid move. Defend. His plan was to get his pieces to good squares, which they are on good squares, and complete his development reasonably and castle, which is all very good. So finally I play the best move in the computer's mind. h5, I do not recommend that move, and it's also not the best move. The best move, the computer is correct. c5, trying to hammer on this d pawn, is his best move strategically. But this guy wanted h5, and I'm like, dude, h5 does absolutely nothing. It's as if he didn't even do anything. I'm like, okay, I don't worry about it. This is a case where understanding the strategic goal of black and white makes the move selection for yourself much easier. h5 is worth no concern to me because I have done previous study. It's not part of his natural strategy. It's not horrible. It just doesn't do anything. It's just making a move, which is fine, no big deal, but it's a neutral-ish move. Okay, whatever. It's not really necessarily bad. It's only bad in quotations in the context of he should have just castled and done something better. So it's not an objectively bad move. It's just not the best move he could play. The best move black could have played would have been castles. So knight to e5 is one of the strategic goals in this formation. That is the best move that white can play. Castles is not the best, even though the computer says it is. Ooh, he takes my knight. He doubles my pawn. Good, I like it. As it messes with his knight. Scram. So he goes back to knight to h7. I mean, if that's the goal where he thought you would want to retreat the knight there, well then h5 is a decent move. I didn't say it was a bad move. I just said it wasn't his best move. If he'd have castled, he'd have been able to play knight to e8. Tomato, tomato. So now, I'm doing the same thing, getting my pieces to good squares and castling, which is what he did. Okay, so, yeah, knight to g5 might have been a good move for him. So at this point, white has a couple of ideas to try and proceed down the f-file, or possibly play b3 and bishop to a3. which could be useful. You know, you could go either way. I decided, you know, let's just go and try to press e4 as my goal. And to do that, I'm going to stop his knight g5 with knight f3. So I'm going to stop what I believe his best goal is. Bishop f5 is clearly the better move, no question. But most players don't like to castle, don't like to have doubled pawns in front of their kings. Bishop f5, forcing white to play bishop takes f5, and then it looks ugly. You know, g takes f5 and then e6. You know, it looks worse than it is. So it's just one of those things. The computer is correct, but that's fine. So now, the problem is if I play e4, he can play c5 and get into this complicated calculation battle which the computer does not evaluate. As a human, c3 first, then e4. Avoid the complications. When you have an advantage, continue forward slowly. Don't get crazy. Now, granted, you know, that's not what the top players would do. You know, they would play e4 first. But, you know, whatever. You got to play to the best of your ability, not to the theoretical maximum that extends beyond your ability. So, c3 and then e4 is the way to go. That's the plan. That's the way that's going. It's fine. This gives white the ability, number one, if he wants to take, bishop recaptures. If he doesn't, at an opportune moment, and the computer, I checked the analysis with the computer after the game. The computer is absolutely in love with e takes d5 for like 20 moves. I'm exaggerating, but it's ridiculous. So it's going to tell me my moves are bad when they're not bad. It's just that it thinks e takes d5 is better. And one of the advantages of leaving the pawn on e4 is that that's the sword of Damocles. He never knows when that pawn move is coming. So in a real game, a human has to calculate that every time, and it's so annoying. That's why you leave it there. So he's going to try and press this queenside attack, which is a good idea. So I'm making it a little more difficult for him than it would normally be. If you want to try this queenside garbage, you're going to have to waste time and, you know, commit forces while I'm working on the king side. You know, that queen side, the difference is look at white's pieces. I'm going to show you a trick I showed my friend. So just look at this trick. Look where white's pieces are focused. They're focused to attack the king side, right? And look at black's forces. You know, he's got an advantage over there, but there's nothing over there. There's nothing for black to win on the queen side. A pawn, if he's lucky. There's a king on the king side. So in this case, the full-out queen side assault by black versus the white king side assault is going to favor white. Because the ultimate target, the king, lives on the king side, by definition. If he was over here, well, he'd be living on the queen side, which would then be the new king side. So, but normally when we say king side, we mean files E, F, G, and H. And then queen side is A through D. Whatever. So that's the dealio's going on here. Bishop to b7, solid move, but really, doesn't he just look like a tall pawn? You know, so it's one of those things. You know, he needs to work on c5 and then play d takes e4. That's what he needs to do. If you're going to play bishop to b7, which is a good move, but you've got to press c5 to free the bishop. Otherwise, he's a tall pawn. So, he's still not threatening to take this yet. So we're good. This is a waste of a move. Here, let me put another pawn on the color of my bishop. He's just making a move to make it, you know, to bleed my time, essentially. That's all he's doing. He hasn't done anything. H5 did very little. A4 does even less. Not a bad move by itself, but you're not doing anything. So, white's strategy has not been compromised at all. Yes, time to wait. Now, this is another one. That rook move is good. The computer just wants me to trade pawns. That is not a good idea. His bishop b7 was better. He needs to be playing like rook to c8, play c5. See, the computer wants him to play c5, as he should. And I told you he needs to play c5 before the computer suggests it. This is because when you learn chess strategy, you understand chess strategy. I'm not just a robot copying the moves from the computer. Oh, you need to play c5. There's a specific reason it would have freed this bishop up to be a factor on b7, which would have been tremendous. And objectively, I should have played probably bishop to e3. Would have been slightly better. I didn't want to blockade. I wanted to maybe play queen takes e4, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was, you know, the difference is I was looking with my eyes. My eyes said maybe queen c4, I mean queen takes e4, but my chess brain now tells me bishop e3 is better. It really crunches the idea of c5, and if d takes e4, we'll just take with the bishop. The queen it's not going to take on e4. So my chess eyes said queen takes e4 is possible. My chess brain analyzes bishop to e3 is the better move. The computer says, with flawless calculations, that e takes d5. Well, I don't want to do that. When I play it, believe me, it's a killer move. But there's no rush to play it. It makes his defensive plan easier to follow than by leaving it here. So one of the masters that I knew, you know, 40 years ago, he was like, you know, these are the kind of things where you don't want to play e takes d5. You want to keep this in reserve and spring it on him when it's necessary. That guy was a tremendous player, really, really strong. And so that's one of the things that's really the most important thing he taught me, was when to trade. Again, this bishop move is fine. The computer just likes to see, the computer's in love with e takes d5. So black, I mean, took my bishop that had 5 pawns on the color. So I'm happy to get rid of it. Also, this knight is going to be a real jerk because he cannot kick it. He can't ever play f6, and there's no pawn here. So knight g5 is a tremendous outpost for this knight on a kingside attack, which is, look where my pieces are, attacking the kingside. Only one guy has not joined the attack yet. All right. Again, that doesn't do anything. That's a cheap shot threat. He's making a generic cheap shot threat. Whoop-de-doo. H4. The best move. It's an obvious move, but there's another thing that's coming up that the computer would see as a possibility, but a human master sees this where a human non-master doesn't see this. He's like, oh, I'm going to play that move. And I'm like, bro, that move is fine. Bishop h6 doesn't do anything. It does. It threatens to win a pawn, right? Well, here's what it doesn't do, and this is what separates the men from the boys. Rook f6. Well, he's just going to play bishop to g7. Yeah, so what? That's my dad's phrase. So what? In this case, he could play. He did not do this. I'm going to show you what he could have done. He could play this move. What is the response for white? If black plays this, perhaps you should pause the video and think about it. And we'll be right back. Kaboom! We're back. Okay. Now, most of you are going to say, well, you know, I'm just going to go like rook to f4, rook to f3. My response is this. This is the killer response. Oh, we can take your rook. Yeah, so what? Who cares? Even the stupid computer says rook f3. Wrong. You do this, he does something. Yeah, it doesn't look too good for him, does it? He's going to eat G4. Kaboom. His king can't even move. So this guy is going to get hammered. This, I had completely planned to play this. He did not play it. So that's fine. Let's go back. Bishop h6, rook f6. I don't care. He's going to get hammered. I'm on a kingside attack. I'm not over here to, you know, I'm not here to goof around, you know, and it's an old Three Stooges joke. I'm not here to play hippity hop at the barber shop. He took the knight. Fine. Good luck with that. I own f6 for the rest of this game. f6 is my jump, is my staging point, is what you call it. It's the staging point for my attack. You'll notice f6 covers this. This rook covers potentially sideways here, right? And this bishop covers sideways here. You're starting to get the drift of what's happening? You will. Look at the 6th rank. Look at the diagonal. Ooh, that's a potentially good and also potentially dangerous move. This bishop is so blatantly out of position, it's not even funny. Here I come. You know, he's just staring down the gigantic howitzer of G4. Now, objectively, I could have even played King F2 and then Rook H1 and then G4. But, you know, I mean, whatever, this is fine. Not a good move if you're going to go anywhere. You know, well, he's trying to play C5 again, finally, but it's too late. He probably should have just played C5. Or he should have played bishop to C8, but it's really, you know, when you flip this board, the defensive ideas for black are hard to come up with. It's quite difficult and not natural. So it's not that he's really playing badly. It's just super difficult to figure out what needs to happen because he doesn't figure it out yet. He's not seen this line and this line. If he did, then he'd understand what he needs to do. And this is not a, you know, it's not this is not where you're there to insult the guy. It's just that if you don't see it, there's nothing you could do. So, like I told you, when I played it, the computer was in love with it. Look at the bar on the left. It's nasty. All right. Now, Grasshopper, this is your option. White to move. What is it that you want to do here? So you might want to pause the video and we'll be right back. And we're back. Okay. Now, you had a free pawn here. But unless you're going to, you know, this pawn, taking this pawn is not really that good of a move. It's not terrible. But the problem is at some point he's just going to rook to b8 and skewer this and beat up on you. This is a terribly weak pawn. So you're actually not helping a lot. And now if we're going to the end game, take the pawn, go to the end game, okay, I can live with that. But look, let me explain this again. This is where we're playing. You see what's going on? We don't care about those 3 files to the left. Okay, hopefully this helps. This is what I played. Now, if you ask yourself, as my father would recommend, what is this guy doing? And by this guy, I mean this guy talking to you. What is white doing? I'm going to do it one more time. Do you see this line? Do you see this line? Do you see what I'm getting at here? I hope you do. So, he doesn't get it. Yet. He's getting the idea, but he's one move short. Okay? He was one move short. He was there to guard the b5 pawn, possibly thinking that I missed it. I don't know if he saw the actual move that he should have played. The computer sees it. Computer says queen to e8, although queen to e8 also loses. All right, I'm going to show you. I looked at this. I go, is this really that? Is this a saving move? It is not. It is not. He gets hammered big time by g4. As you see, the computer is like, okay. And I think he plays this. Correcto. And then I believe this is the correct move. It is. Threatening queen to h6. His only defense is this, which is horrible, as you can see. Now, why would I say this is horrible? This is why. He gets annihilated. He can't go back. Can he go back? I don't think he can go back. I could just triple on the file. The queen to f4 move is a killer move. This was his best move. He just gets mega hammered by this. His best move was queen to e8, but it's not really good enough. This is the hammer. Now this is probably the best move for him. It says here, but dude, I'm just gonna destroy you. He gets. I mean, if he goes king to e7, I mean, a 1200 knows to go queen to f6 check, and you're toast. That rook is dead. Okay. So he'd go here. I guess you check him, and he's toast anyway. Oh, bishop the other way. Don't care about your stupid garbage. What the holy hell is going on? I don't want this. I don't even know where this comes from. Print. I don't know where he came up with this print garbage. Anyway. I mean, he's just getting destroyed. He's going to get the black square hammer. I don't know. It's terrible. This is pretty much forced. Oh, queen f7 is even better. Okay, we get the general drift. He's getting destroyed. He's getting checkmated is what's happening. So, he takes it. I take it. Oh, I'm sorry. This was if he went to queen to e8, which was the best move, and it's not good. He did not play the best move. He played the inferior move. Now, what is the move for white? I have given you every possible clue and hint, so I'm not going to tell you to pause the video. You either did it or didn't on your own. Crunch. It's untouchable. You cannot take the bishop. You know, even when he added the extra defender on e8 that defends g6, he was still getting annihilated, but just annihilated differently. I mean, this is just, it's god awful. I like this. I didn't, you know, the computer says bishop d3. Bishop d3 never came to my mind. It was the same idea. I just go bishop takes h5 and then just g6. There's nothing you could do to stop g6. You know, this g6 square is an untouchable square by black. Even when he puts this bishop as it should be, that's a terrific defensive move. Problem is, he's got 1, 2, 3 defenders of this. I have 1, 2, 3 attackers. but the order of attack is what kills him. My queen is at the end of the order, and I get an in-between move that kills him. So the machine likes queen d1. Whatever, bro. I don't know if queen d1 does something special. I don't care, because g6 just wins. I'm not into the nitpicking of trying to get the cleanest and whatever win. If it's winning, I'm playing it. I'm not there, you know, nitpicking and going crazy. Yeah. Clearly, computer recommends f takes g6. That just loses. I mean, I guess everything he does loses. Doesn't this just lose? Rook takes rook. You lose a rook, or you lose your queen for a rook. So losing a queen for the rook is probably the best he could do. This is destruction. I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, he can't. Pawn takes bishop can't be the right move, right? That is the right move. Okay, now you're exchanged down. Good luck with that. I don't know. Surely, I don't know. Surely I have something just double nasty for this guy. One of the things in the analysis I looked at is that going to the G file is just devastating for white. So white's option to go to the G file and check him, allows me to get queen to G8. So we could just do something like this, kind of mundane. What's the best move? The computer doesn't. Oh, rook to F6 there. Look at the bar on the left. He's just annihilated. I literally have no idea. How does he stop this threat of queen G3 check? Queen G5? That's probably the actual answer of why rook F6 is the best. Here, because remember what I said about F6 was my staging point? I was thinking originally that, it doesn't help me because I can't play queen G6 check. But I can just play this move. I can check him on the G file somewhere else. This guy is, look at it, he's smoked. There's nothing he could do. He's only an exchange down, and I say only because it could have been, I guess it could have been worse. The computer is playing, monster defense, and it could have been worse. God, I just think this guy's getting destroyed. Bishop F7, is that's your best move? Oh, how? I don't know. I'm just thinking again, queen D3. It is the best move, awesome, because his queen G3 is just a devastator. What can he do? Run away? That's not it. Queen to E8? Who comes up with these moves? Queen to E8, how is this his best move? Oh, what? Queen to H3? Who comes up with this? Oh, I got it. Queen to H3 because G4 is the devastator that opens him like a can of sardines. Okay, now, Bobby Fischer, what are you going to do? What, queen to here? Nope. B4, really? Look at this. What does this do? It just loses. A takes B3. What's he going to do? Take it? Who cares? The computer says don't even take it. I'm like, it's so bad. It's so bad. Don't even take it. This is just horrible. He's gonna get destroyed on the dark squares. Queen to H6 check is devastation. you know, impending doom. This loses also to queen h6 check, and then rook, bishop to g6. Does this even, I mean, it doesn't work because look at the bar. The bar says it's no good. We just hit this guy. What are you going to do? Kasparov? Are you Magnus Carlsen Jr.? Oh, bishop f5. All right, whatever. Let's see. I'm not Magnus Carlsen. I don't have to be. Queen g5. Oh, ladder mate. My bad. This is a ladder mate of rook to here. There's nothing he could do. Ah, okay. Well, I mean, I'm not killing myself to figure this crud out. He's toast. There's nothing he could do. He's getting mated. Do-do, do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. Well, okay, technically he's not getting mated, he's just losing his queen. Okay, so there you go. Sometimes you don't have to think to play the best move. Okay, this is just annihilation, right? Let's go back. But that was my goal, that was his idea. Was to play that. He did, you know, the computer's idea. Oh, he played bishop to e8, which was correct. I hit him with g6, not queen to d1. I don't care about queen to d1. He's got nothing. Yeah, he did that instead of taking. I'm like, come on, bro, you're dead now. Okay, the problem he has, take or not. There's nothing, you know, he's g6. The f6 staging ground that I mentioned way back, this is where it is. He took it, which the computer says is the best move. Well, I played bishop takes bishop so fast to make your head spin, because what I'm trying to do is remove the control of g6. I owned f6 and I want g6, which you saw, you know, with the horizontal and diagonal line as I was hinting about it. This is, you know, rook to h8 isn't a double question mark move in the conventional sense. He's dead. The bar was already on the left-hand side. As you see, it's all white because I've been winning this game forever. Queen takes here. He's dead. I mean, it doesn't require, you know, it's not a PhD kind of an idea. He is completely toast. We take with the other one. Who cares? Really? Like there's a better one? Okay. Whatever, dude. How's this grab you? Best move. You know, to be honest, it's probably the best move is to go here with the king. Nope. It says rook. Whatever, dude. What are you doing? Are you going to go and defend? All right. D3, E2, what's the difference? I check him here. Okay, yeah, I can't diagonally. Okay, so G4 is a little better than G3. Okay, tomato, tomato. Let's see, does he guard it? Rook to E7. That's the move it tells you is going to save, whatever. Look at this bar, man. At least if a guy plays this move, you're like, he's trying. You know, this is ridiculous. Is this the right move? Queen F3, he would just play there. Whatever. I guess here's the dealio. We go queen here. He goes here. We hit him with this. You know, we basically trick him into playing rook F7. Rook F7 is not a good move, but it sure looks like the right move, doesn't it? You want to try and challenge this queen on the file. Problem is, you hit him with this queen check. You're going to eat this pawn, and he's double dead already. I mean, at this point, we take this pawn, queen takes rook, and the game is over. this king and pawn ending with this pawn here. This king just waltzes up, pushes this guy. He takes it. We just go and eat, you know, whatever. So he's got a dead lost endgame. He plays rook h8, which is trying to escape. I mean, you can't fault the man for trying to escape. You know, it's just it was horrible. Bishop to g8, bishop to e8, bishop takes e6, check. All three of those moves win. I don't know how there's a best, you know. I guess the computer said that the bishop g8 actually mates him like one move sooner. Like, do you really care? I don't. That one actually mates him one move sooner if I went bishop to g8. I'm like, dude, in this position, if you play bishop to e8, check, you win. It doesn't really matter. You know, the bishop g8 was like mate in 3, I think is what it said. And bishop takes e6 was like mate in 4. Probably bishop e8's the same, 4 or 5. It doesn't really matter to me. They're all the same. They all end in the same thing, checkmate. Okay, so me, I'm greedy. Bishop takes e6. And as I said before, I'm the kind of guy that takes a free pawn with discovered check. Sue me. You know. So he just makes the move and I'm like, yeah, whatever. He was just, you know, waiting. He wanted to end the game without resigning, I suppose. And you know, he did the best he could. But that attack was a vicious attack. And that was, like I said, the thing that I learned from that master way back. Really nice guy, too. You know, he was always friendly to me. Was like, you know, hold on. There was no reason we go back. E takes d5. When I play it, it's a monster move. But it's been sitting there like the sword of Damocles for like a gazillion moves. You know, it's sitting there. Computer says, take it. I say no. Computer says, take it. I said no. Take it. No. I take my piece back. Take it. No. Take it. No. Take my piece back. Take it. No. There's no reason to take this pawn. He's not threatening to do anything if I don't take it. And that's really, I guess, what, you know, it boils down to for you guys. There is no threat of d takes e4. That was valuable. Bishop captures e4 is the right move. And there's nothing he could do. I mean, he could pile up pieces and then play c5, discovered attack, but it's going to be, his king will be dead before that happens. This idea is very slow. Bishop b7, blah, blah, blah. Take it. Okay. So however many times the computer said take it and I said no, finally I said, okay, you win. Now objectively, if he'd have played bishop to c8 and I took it, he could have taken and then played bishop to e6 and maybe, or bishop to f5 would have been, you know, something better than what happened, right? Because what happened was just, this queen to c2 is a nasty move. And I don't know how the computer didn't think it was better. But g4 is terrific, okay? We saw that other variation. g4 for white is a terrific move. So is queen to c2. Queen to c2 is like, okay, well, queen to c2 is a move that's going to look more flashy in the end, which is what happened. That's the flashy. Bishop takes g6. You know, this is just this more spectacular, more fireworks style. You know, with bishop rips g6, bishop takes h5, and then g6, a devastating move. You know, I would think for the most part a 1600 player could have cashed out this game because it really isn't that difficult once we get to this position. But it's how you get there, the retention of e takes d5, because the sword of Damocles just hangs over you until it's gone. And it's annoying because it's always hanging, and that's the deal. So that's the thing that I wanted to show you guys, was that the E takes D5. And the computer is super strong. It's telling you the best move. But there's a practical sort of Damocles effect that's going on in this game, to where E takes D5 is one of many good moves. And I played a bunch of good moves. I wanted to get those rooks on the file. That was really, the rooks on the open file, or semi-open file, was going to be more powerful, and you saw exactly why that was the case. So look at this one again, study what's going on. This is some really helpful stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. It was a tremendous game. You know what to do. I will talk to you guys later.